Really? You said you'd never leave your wife for me. I repeat over and over in my head as I drive home in the late afternoon, the rain streaking the window and blurring the city lights into abstract colors. My name is Tessa James, and for the longest time, I believed his words that promised passion, loyalty, and a future together that transcended the limitations of an impossible situation. But now, they sting like acid. He had sworn, "I'll never leave my wife for you." And yet somehow, those promises never felt like bridges to a shared life, only barriers that trapped us both in a constant state of longing and mistrust. It wasn't that I didn't love him. I did, deeply, desperately. I saw in him a spark of something real, even though reality told a different story. Every time he reassured me with a soft smile and whispered that his commitment was forever, I clung to his words like a lifeline. But as the months of uncertainty dragged on, his excuses became predictable. "I can't do this right now," or "I promise, someday," became our refrain, a hollow echo in the quiet spaces between us. One chilly evening, as I sat on the edge of my sofa, wrapped in a worn blanket and nursing a cup of lukewarm tea, I finally reached my breaking point. I stared into the silence of our shared apartment, the remnants of our life scattered across dusty shelves and overfilled photo albums, and realized that I was living in the limbo of his indecision. He had made it clear he would never leave his wife for me. And so, I left him first. I remember the moment vividly. I packed a single bag, just enough for a weekend, though I knew it would become my new beginning, and left a note on the counter. I didn't so much say goodbye as I declared a silent, resolute farewell to a life of half-hearted promises and endless waiting. My heart ached as I walked out the door, but with each step, I felt an unexpected liberation, the freedom to reclaim my worth and my story. The days that followed were a whirlwind of emotions. At first, I was numb, locked in the shock of the decision I'd made. Then, as the initial haze lifted, a steely determination took hold. I would learn the truth about everything he'd hidden, every secret locked away behind those carefully constructed walls of denial. I began to dig through our shared digital history, searching for clues that might have been left behind. Our emails, text messages, and even the digital files in our shared cloud drive began to tell a story that he had thought would remain hidden. It started with a folder I had never noticed before, innocuously labeled Old Ideas and Memories. I clicked through it, expecting nostalgic snapshots of our happier times. Instead, I found a series of cryptic messages and documents. Among them was a conversation with someone named Eric discussing details of a business deal we had once planned to embark on together, a plan that he had since abandoned without explanation. But what truly took me by surprise was an email chain that revealed even deeper layers of his deception. His tone, usually smooth and reassuring when he was with me, was harsh and calculating in those messages. There were references to hidden bank accounts, undisclosed assets, and secret meetings. It was as if he had built an entire life around lies, compartmentalizing his world into us and them, with the latter being all he kept hidden. Late into many long, sleepless nights, I pored over the evidence. Each new discovery was like a piece of a puzzle, revealing not only the extent of his dishonesty, but also the realization that while he had assured me of unwavering loyalty, his true priorities lay elsewhere. I began to compile everything, a digital scrapbook of betrayal. I organized the messages, the dated receipts, the snippets of conversations that I had forgotten in the flurry of passion and promises. My heart ached with each click and scroll, yet I also felt a strange sense of empowerment. This was my truth, and now it was mine to own. One evening, as I sat with my laptop in the quiet solitude of a friend's living room, I knew what I had to do next. I decided to confront the evidence head-on by reaching out to someone who had been part of his hidden world, a confidant he had trusted with his secrets. I sent an email to a mutual acquaintance, someone named Lauren, who had once been close to him. "Lauren, I'm reaching out because I need to know the truth," I wrote, every word weighted with a mixture of hurt and determination. "I've found documents that suggest there's a life I never knew about, the lies and secrets you both shared. Help me understand." The response was slow in coming, but when it finally did, it was filled with the raw honesty I'd been desperate to hear. "Tessa, there's so much you don't know," her reply began. Over the next few weeks, Lauren confided in me details I never could have imagined, the elaborate web of deceit he had spun, the secrets he had buried, and his constant battle to live a double life without any trace of remorse. With every piece of the puzzle she revealed, my heartbreak transformed into resolve. I wasn't just the woman left behind. I was someone who deserved to know the complete truth. Armed with this new clarity, I started to rebuild my life piece by piece, using the bitter lessons I'd learned as stepping stones toward a future defined by honesty and empowerment. I dove into new creative projects that had long been relegated to the background, projects where I could channel my emotions into art and writing. I started a blog, Fragments of Truth, where I chronicled my journey from betrayal to self-discovery. My writing was raw and unfiltered, every post a conversation with those who had ever felt the sting of deception, every word a testament to my determination to rise above it all. I attended therapy sessions, not just to heal the wounds of the past, but to understand how the digital traces of our lives, those meticulously recorded messages, receipts, and files, could serve as both evidence and empowerment. My therapist often reminded me, every secret you uncover is a chance to redefine your future. The truth has a way of setting you free. Those words became a mantra, echoing in my mind as I navigated the complex journey of rebuilding trust, both in myself and in future relationships. As the months turned into a year, I began to see a transformation in myself that I had never anticipated. I discovered a newfound confidence, one that came not from a man's promises, but from the resilience built in the aftermath of betrayal. I reconnected with old friends, formed new bonds with people who valued honesty above all else, and even took up a course in digital forensics, fascinated by the way our modern lives are documented down to every detail. One crisp autumn afternoon, I found myself speaking at a small support group meeting for women who had experienced relational betrayal. I learned that it's not just about finding out the lies. I told the group softly, it's about embracing the truth that those lies reveal, and then using that truth to build a future that's stronger than the past. The room was silent for a moment before a woman near the front nodded, her eyes glistening with tears. It was a small victory, a shared moment of understanding that reminded me that my journey wasn't in vain. The legacy of his deception, the trail of digital secrets and half-truths, eventually became a catalyst for my personal evolution. I realized that while his lies had initially left me shattered, they also illuminated parts of myself I'd long forgotten. The strength to question, the courage to confront, and the inner fire to rebuild a life that was unequivocally mine. I embraced my newfound independence with a fierce determination. Every unsent message, every reread email, every hard-learned truth became the building blocks of a future defined by resilience. And so, I stand here today, not as the woman who was deceived and left to pick up the pieces, but as someone who transformed heartbreak into a legacy of truth, a narrative that speaks of betrayal but also of profound personal growth. I've learned that while trust is delicate, the ability to reclaim your identity is invincible. The digital evidence that once represented his lies now serves as the foundation upon which I have rebuilt my life. To anyone reading this who has ever felt the sharp sting of betrayal, who has ever discovered hidden secrets that left you questioning everything you thought you knew about love, know this, your truth is your power. Embrace every painful revelation, let it teach you, let it strengthen you, and use it as the stepping stone toward the future you deserve. Document your journey, share your truth, and remember that every broken piece of trust can be mended, every scar can be the mark of survival, and every betrayal can ignite the spark of a new beginning. This is my story, a journey from heartbreaking deception to the eventual embrace of truth and self-reclamation. I was left questioning everything when I discovered the hidden secrets in our digital lives, when I found out that the man I loved had built a house of lies so elaborate that I was only invited to see its ruins. But with every digital footprint, every piece of evidence, I reclaimed a part of myself and rebuilt my future from the shattered remains. May my journey serve as a beacon for you, a reminder that even in the wake of betrayal, you have the strength to rise up, to confront the truth, and to build a life defined not by someone else's deception, but by your own unwavering resilience. Stand tall, document every truth, and let every painful secret be the catalyst for a future that is entirely and beautifully your own.